Hi, I'm Emily and welcome back to Bytes. So it's been a little more than a month since we've uploaded and since I've done this. And that's because Eliyahu had a special 7th month seminar during Sukkot and all through the 7th month, where he talked about the regathering of the 12 tribes of Israel in these last days and the 12 tribe leaders, the breastplate stones in Leviticus. And I wish I could tell you more, but it was a seminar mostly reserved for serious Tsiyon partners. However, if you are interested, you can go to Tsiyon.net and sign up as a partner, and you can watch those videos. And the first one is free to free members, so you could just sign up and watch that video and see what you think. But I digress. We've gotten back into uploading, and this week's newsletter is on John chapter 6, verses 1 through 25. And it's called Lord Over Everything. Not Lord over some things, Lord over everything. So, I'll get started. From Eliyahu. Shalom, friends. The 21st century has been completely dominated by new technologies. Broadband internet, cell phones, gadgets, and more gadgets. Let's face it, most of us love all this tech stuff. However, along with the tech used by ordinary people, we've also seen a startling rise in the use of technology by state actors, corporations, and criminals to do things that we don't want and can't control. Widespread hacking, ransomware, identity theft, our personal data floating in the cloud with frequent data breaches harvesting the data of millions of people at a time. Governments using facial recognition and other forms of surveillance to track our every move. Businesses tracking us on and offline, gathering every shred of data and storing it forever and a day. Eavesdropping by trusted corporations using devices that we've purchased from them to spy on and record our private conversations and activities, even in our bedrooms. So, while 21st century tech has its upside, it has been a real killer when it comes to individual rights and privacy. Essentially, those are effectively gone. Technology issues dominate the news, and they are so frequent and often so weird that the public doesn't know what to think of them. In genetics, you see articles like a baby with 3 biological parents, genetic experiments involving injecting human DNA into animals, and all manner of mad scientist headlines like this. An example is the picture to the right, which is a screenshot of the first 7 headlines at drudgereport.com this morning. As you look at the headlines, you often see a matchup between tech-crazy billionaires who, unfortunately, are the people bringing in the future, and massive violations of your rights, your humanity, and your dignity. For example, in the End of Civilization article, Elon Musk comments on his vision of the future of humanity. He talked about how in the future technology from Neuralink, a startup that he co-founded, could give people a way to boost their skills in certain subjects. The company is seeking to draw on AI for augmenting people's cognitive capabilities with brain-machine interfaces. The company is not there yet, though. The first thing we should assume is we are very dumb, Musk said. We can definitely make things smarter than ourselves. I find it interesting that the billionaire elite are now coming right out with their opinion of the human race. We are very dumb, says Elon Musk. That's why you need his Neuralink, so you can have a hole drilled in your head and a brain-machine interface surgically tied into your brain so that you can interface with the coming AI. Will that make you smart, or will it make you a slave? On one level, all of this looks very random, and therefore confusing. However, look closer and it becomes crystal clear. We are already at a point where the groundwork has been laid, and the players controlling the levers of the future are busy bringing in the Darwinist world that they believe in. Compare their vision to the prophetic picture of the end of the world presented in the Bible, and the 2 visions are coming into focus as one and the same future, directly ahead of us. It is purposeful. The elite are manifesting the Antichrist spirit, essentially replacing God, setting themselves up as the masters of creation. The elite have literally wanted to take over the world ever since the Tower of Babel, with successive attempts by the empires of history foretold in advance by the prophet Daniel. However, total global domination has always been beyond their grasp and therefore unattainable to them until now. It is the 21st century technology that's tipping the scales in their favor, and they are spending trillions to create a global technology platform from which that they can completely control the human race. They have a schedule for bringing this in, and it's called Agenda 2030, which has already been ratified by the member nations of the UN. Yes, we are only about a decade away from a technocratic system of total control of humanity. Last week, I presented a video entitled Building the Beast, and this video sets out a fairly comprehensive picture of the 2030 plan as it applies to technology and shows the progress that has been made in the plan since 2015 to the present. This is moving faster than anyone could have imagined. The video is still posted on the homepage at Tsiyon.net and can be viewed by all members, including free members. Tell your friends to register free of charge at Tsiyon.net to see this video. So, what does all of this mean for humanity? Simply this: every person will have to choose who they will serve. The choices are the tech gods who fancy themselves as masters of creation, who will rule the dystopian future just ahead, or the Son of God, Yeshua Messiah, who created the natural world, gave his life to save it, and who is the rightful master of creation. You cannot serve two masters, he said. Every person on earth will be forced by circumstances to choose which master they will serve. When the Son of God walked the earth 2,000 years ago, he proved his claim to the creation by exerting absolute authority over everything. He is Lord of all and did what we call miracles, which are not miracles to him, but are simply examples of his total control over the world that he created. When he was with us, he manifested control over everything, the likes of which modern science cannot match. At our online meeting, we considered some of these amazing manifestations of his divine authority and power as recorded in John chapter 6. And you can view that video, which I will put up at the very end, but there is an article that Eliyahu put in this newsletter that I thought was very interesting and also a little creepy. So get ready, because I'm going to read that too. And it is creepy. Loss of privacy and personal freedom are on the rise as the values of the technocracy are being forced upon the masses. And here's how they're doing it right now. Silicon Valley is building a Chinese-style social credit system. Exciting. Okay, so in China, scoring citizens' behavior is monitored by the government. And US companies are increasingly doing something similar outside the law. Have you heard about China's social credit system? It's a technology-enabled, surveillance-based nationwide program designed to nudge citizens towards better behavior. The ultimate goal is to allow the trustworthy to roam everywhere under heaven while making it hard for the discredited to take a single step, according to the Chinese government. In place since 2014, the social credit system is a work in progress that could evolve by next year into a single nationwide point system for all Chinese citizens, akin to a financial credit score. It aims to punish for transgressions that can include membership in or support for the Falun Gong or Tibetan Buddhism, failure to pay debts, excessive video gaming, criticizing the government, late payments, failing to sweep the sidewalk in front of your store or house, smoking or playing loud music on trains, jaywalking, and other actions deemed illegal or unacceptable by the Chinese government. And I don't know about you, but that pretty much means that everyone I know, including myself, would have a pretty poor social credit score in China. But it can also award points for the charitable donations or even taking one's own parents to the doctor. Thank goodness. Punishments can be harsh, including bans on leaving the country, using public transportation, checking into hotels, hiring for high visibility jobs, or acceptance of children to private schools. It can also result in slower internet connections and social stigmatism in the form of registration on a public blacklist.
By the end of last year, blacklisted people were blocked from booking 23 million flights and 5 million high-speed train trips. And the list goes on. Being discredited makes it hard to get a job, a loan, a hotel room, or put kids in certain schools. Then there's the public shaming. Photo galleries of blacklisted citizens. There's even an app that shows who around you is in debt. In China, being monitored is nothing new. But algorithmic surveillance makes it possible to collect data to build detailed profiles of people, especially the ones not loyal to the government. Of all the video surveillance cameras on the planet right now, nearly half of them are in China.
The only public blacklist in the United States that I know about is where you can check if pedophiles live in your neighborhood. And I'm pretty sure molesting children is worthy of a public blacklist. However, excessive video gaming is not. China's social credit system has been characterized in one pithy tweet as authoritarianism gamified. At present, some parts of the social credit system are enforced nationwide and others are local and limited. There are 40 or so pilot projects operated by local governments and at least 6 run by tech giants like Alibaba and Tencent. Beijing maintains 2 nationwide lists called the Black List and the Red List. And Red List sounds really bad, like the worst, but wait, the former list, the Black List, consisting of people who have transgressed, and the latter, the Red List, people who have stayed out of trouble. You see, a red list is the communist version of a white list. Exciting. These lists are publicly searchable on a government website called China Credit. So there's a lot of social stigmatism involved. The Chinese government also shares lists with technology platforms. So, for example, if someone criticizes the government on Weibo, their kids might be ineligible for acceptance to an elite school. Public shaming is also part of China's social credit system. Pictures of blacklisted people in one city were shown between videos on TikTok in a trial, and the addresses of blacklisted citizens were shown on a map on WeChat. If you thought bullying ended when you got out of school, not in China. Some Western press reports imply that the Chinese populace is suffocating in a nationwide Skinner box of oppressive behavioral modification, but some Chinese are unaware that it even exists. And many others actually like the idea. One survey found that 80% of Chinese citizens surveyed either somewhat or strongly approve of social credit system. It's very concerning. It can happen here. Many Westerners are disturbed by what they read about China's social credit system, but such systems, it turns out, are not unique to China. A parallel system is developing in the United States, in part as a result of Silicon Valley and technology industry user policies, and in part by surveillance of social media activity by private companies. Here are some of the elements of America's growing social credit system. Insurance companies. I think that pretty much speaks for itself. Patron Scan, which I didn't know what it was until I read this article, so I'll go ahead and read what's under that heading. Patron Scan sells 3 products: kiosk, desktop, and handheld systems, designed to help bar and restaurant owners manage customers. Patron Scan is a subsidiary of the Canadian software company Serval Biometrics, and its products are now on sale in the United States, Canada, Australia, and the United Kingdom. Patron Scan helps spot fake IDs and troublemakers. When customers arrive at a Patron Scan using bar, their ID is scanned. The company maintains a list of objectionable customers designed to protect venues from people previously removed for fighting, sexual assault, drugs, theft, and other bad behavior. And while I'll say, fighting sexual assault, drugs, and theft, I think are pretty valid for kicking someone out and keeping them out of public venues, who defines bad behavior? It's not a clearly defined thing. Anyone can say that's bad behavior and kick you out, even if you're just maybe complaining about something like the government or like a drink or your waiter or something. I mean, what defines bad behavior, okay? A public list is shared among all Patron Scan customers. So someone who's banned by one bar in the US is potentially banned by all bars in the US. the UK and Canada, because they all would use the Patron Scan system. However, Australia keeps a separate system. Judgment about what kind of behavior qualifies for inclusion on a Patron Scan list is up to the bar owners and managers, of course. So another one on the list that is involved in America's growing social credit system, besides Patron Scan, is Uber and Airbnb. Of course, these ride-sharing and peer-to-peer accommodation companies provide similar services where they can disable your account for any reason it chooses, basically, and reserves the right not to tell you the reason. The company's canned message includes the assertion that this decision is irreversible and will affect any duplicated or future accounts. Please understand that we are not obligated to provide an explanation for the action taken against your account. And the ban can be based on something the host privately tells Airbnb about something they believe you did while staying at their property. Which, you know, with how hateful people are, they can say anything they want about you, and then you're banned forever. Airbnb's competitors have similar policies. Exciting. It's now easy to get banned by Uber too. Whenever you get out of the car after an Uber ride, the app invites you to rate the driver. What many passengers don't know is that the driver now also gets an invitation to rate you. So you better trust that your driver likes you, or you could be rated so low that they'll just ban you from using Uber. Another one is WhatsApp. You can be banned from communication apps too, okay? As if it wasn't already good enough. For example, you can be banned on WhatsApp if too many other users block you. You can also get banned for sending spam, threatening messages, trying to hack or reverse engineer the WhatsApp app, or using the service with an unauthorized app. WhatsApp is small potatoes in the United States, but in much of the world, it's the main form of electronic communication. Not being allowed to use WhatsApp in some countries is as punishing as not being allowed to use the telephone system in America. So, what's wrong with social credit anyway? Nobody likes antisocial, violent, rude, unhealthy, reckless, selfish, or deadbeat behavior. So what's wrong with using new technology to encourage everyone to behave? The most disturbing attribute of a social credit system is not that it's invasive, but that it's extra legal. Crimes are punished outside the legal system, which means no presumption of innocence, no legal representation, no judge, no jury, and often no appeal. In other words, it's an alternative legal system where the accused have fewer rights. Social credit systems are an end run around the pesky complications of the legal system. Unlike China's government policy, the social credit emerging in the US is enforced by private companies. If the public objects to how these laws are enforced, it can't re-elect new rulemakers. It can't elect new rulemakers. An increasing number of societal privileges related to transportation, accommodations, communications, and the rates we pay for services like insurance are either controlled by technology companies or affected by how we use technology services. And Silicon Valley's rules for being allowed to use their services are getting stricter. So, if the current trends hold, it's possible that in the future a majority of misdemeanors and even some felonies will be punished not by Washington, D.C., but by Silicon Valley. It's a slippery slope away from democracy and towards corporatocracy. In other words, in the future, law enforcement may be determined less by the Constitution and legal code and more by the end-user license agreements. So make sure you read those end-user license agreements. Well, this was kind of long, so I'm just going to go ahead and redirect you to the video that goes along with this newsletter. But it's a lot to think about, and I'm also going to link to the Elon Musk video about Neuralink, because that tied directly in with everything here. So thank you for joining me. I'll see you next week. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe, leave your comments below, good or bad. And the video, as always, is right over here.